Let's unearth 15 unforgettable rock songs from 1971 that roared louder, soared higher, and refused to be forgotten. These weren't just tracks, they were shocks to the system, still humming through the speakers of time. And the final song? It shattered the wall between gospel and rock and made history with one impossible scream. Number 15, One of These Days, by Pink Floyd. This track didn't say a word until it did. One of These Days opened metal with bass lines that circled like sharks, growing more menacing with every loop. David Gilmour and Roger Waters shared bass duties, building a mood so thick you could feel it breathing down your neck. Then came that lone, distorted voice. One of these days, I'm going to cut you into little pieces. It was Pink Floyd unhinged and unforgettable. Next, a barroom piano man stumbles his way into rock immortality. Number 14, Jumpin' Jack Flash by the Rolling Stones.
I was raised by toothless Betty Hay.
On Get Your Ya-Ya's Out, this song went from studio groove to stage explosion. The Stones were raw, ragged, and fully alive, and Jumpin' Jack Flash felt like it was being dragged through the dirt and spit back out with pride. Keith's riff snarled. Charlie's beat swung like a wrecking ball, and Mick, he owned the crowd. The 1971 live version made clear the Stones weren't just dangerous, they were unstoppable. Next, a folk rock preacher with a prayer that still shakes the rafters. Still with us? Hit subscribe so you never miss another forgotten gem or iconic deep cut. We're only scratching the surface of 71. Number 13, A Hard Rain's A Gonna Fall by Leon Russell.
Where have you been? My blue-eyed son. Where have you been?
Leon Russell didn't just cover Dylan, he set him on fire. On stage in 1971, backed by a wall of gospel singers and blistering piano, Russell turned A Hard Rain into a storm of its own. His voice cracked, climbed, and testified. It wasn't polite. It wasn't soft. It was revelation in real time. Russell may have been behind the scenes for most of his career, but in this moment, he stood at the front of the altar. Coming up, a band from Canada that gave us the grooviest organ line of the year. Number 12, One Fine Morning by Lighthouse.
One fine morning, girl, I'll wake up, wipe the sleep from my eyes.
Jazz rock fusion never sounded so sunlit. One Fine Morning was Canada's answer to Chicago. Horn-driven, soulful, and rhythmically unstoppable. With soaring vocals and punchy brass stabs, Lighthouse created an anthem that felt like waking up in Technicolor. It reached the US Top 30 and became a staple of the era's feel-good FM playlists. But over time, it got buried beneath louder names, even though that final instrumental break still hits like fireworks. Next, a blues rock bruiser that makes restraint feel rebellious. Number 11, Be My Friend by Free.
Baby, baby, be my friend.
Free weren't just the band behind All Right Now. Be My Friend was their soul laid bare. A slow-burning ballad with blues muscle and Paul Rodgers' aching voice, it was raw, stripped down, and devastatingly honest. Kossoff's guitar weeps, then erupts. The song never made it as a single, but it became a live favorite and a quiet masterpiece in their catalog. It's a plea, a promise, and a punch to the gut all at once. Next, a band who made sloppy sound spiritual. Number 10, Stay With Me by Faces.
Stay with me, 'cause tonight you're gonna stay with me.
This is what happens when the pub turns into a cathedral. Stay With Me was Faces at their ragged best. Rod Stewart full of swagger, Ron Wood dragging riffs through sawdust and soul. It's a song about a fling, sure, but it feels like rock and roll itself asking for one more night. It hit the top 10 in the UK and cracked the US top 20, proving that even chaos can chart when it's this catchy. Next, an underdog anthem from one of the most important power trios in history. Number 9, Breadfan by Budgie. Heavy, unhinged, way ahead of its time. Breadfan wasn't a hit, it was a blueprint. This Welsh trio fused prog ambition with thunderous riffs and frantic tempo shifts, setting the groundwork for what would become thrash and speed metal. Released in 1971 on Never Turn Your Back on a Friend, the track never touched the charts. But years later, Metallica covered it, and everything clicked. Budgie didn't chase fame, they chased the edge. And in Breadfan, they found it. Next, a live performance that burns like a sermon on fire. Number 8, I Don't Need No Doctor by Humble Pie. Steve Marriott never just sang, he testified. On the 1971 performance, Rockin' the Fillmore album, Humble Pie's cover of I Don't Need No Doctor became a howling, stomping, soul-drenched declaration. The original was Ray Charles, but this was rock revival. Marriott screams, Frampton blazes, the crowd erupts, no overdubs, no studio polish, just 4 guys and a room full of fire. Next up, a track that floated in on strings and stayed for decades. Number 7, The Story in Your Eyes by the Moody Blues. Urgent, poetic, and quietly devastating. The Story in Your Eyes packed existential weight into under 3 minutes, layered in Mellotron haze, crisp guitar work, and Justin Hayward's haunting vocal. It cracked the top 30 in the US, anchoring Every Good Boy Deserves Favor as its emotional centerpiece. It's not as soft as Nights in White Satin, but it hits just as hard. One listen, and you're right back in the stormy swirl of 1971. Coming up next, a song with no words, just pure emotional combustion. Number 6, Maggot Brain by Funkadelic. "10 minutes, one guitar, a meltdown of the soul." Maggot Brain wasn't just a song, it was an exorcism. Legend has it George Clinton told Eddie Hazel to play Like Your Mother Just Died, and what poured out was one of the most emotional guitar solos ever recorded. No chorus, no hooks, just anguish and transcendence in reverb and delay. It didn't chart, it didn't need to. Hazel turned grief into gospel and Maggot Brain into holy ground. Next, a prog rock overture that sounds like it was carved into a mountain. Number 5, Roundabout by Yes. A bass line that sneaks in like a serpent. Roundabout opened fragile with shifting time signatures, soaring falsettos, and riffs that shouldn't work, but absolutely do. Yes fused classical precision with rock muscle, and Roundabout became their most iconic track. It was prog with pop instincts, ambition with accessibility, and in the hands of Chris Squire and Steve Howe, it moved like machinery with a soul. It reached number 13 on the Billboard charts and rewrote what a hit rock song could sound like. Next, a band of brothers channel pain, pride, and pure Southern soul. Number 4, Statesboro Blues by the Allman Brothers Band. This was lightning in a bottle, live and alive. From the legendary At Fillmore East album, Statesboro Blues showed Duane Allman at his absolute peak, his slide guitar slicing through the air like gospel steel. The Allmans didn't just cover blues, they resurrected it. Greg's voice dripped with smoke and heartbreak, and the rhythm section never let up. This version became the gold standard for modern blues rock, raw, unfiltered, and eternal. Next, our final 3. where glam, grit, and a scream for salvation await. Number 3, Life on Mars by David Bowie. A ballad, a sci-fi opera, a question mark etched in glitter. Life on Mars was Bowie at his most cinematic, pounding piano chords, surreal lyrics, and a vocal that went to the stars and back. It wasn't a massive US hit in '71, but in the UK it became a generation's melancholy soundtrack. Mick Ronson's arrangement gave it Broadway grandeur. Bowie gave it myth. Is there life on Mars? There's definitely something in this song that never stops breathing. Next, a former Beatle holds up a mirror and doesn't flinch. Number 2, Imagine by John Lennon.
Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do.
A whisper that shook the world. Imagine was radical in its softness as a piano, a dream and a message that questioned everything we cling to. It wasn't just a song, it was a secular hymn. Some called it naive, others called it dangerous, but everyone heard it. It topped charts, crossed borders, and lived far beyond 1971. No verses hit harder than Imagine No Possessions. I wonder if you can, and that's why it lives on walls, in protests, and inside every quiet hope. And finally, a scream that tore the heavens open. Number 1, A Change Is Gonna Come by Baby Huey and the Babysitters. Wait, not Sam Cooke. In 1971, a nearly forgotten soul rock powerhouse named Baby Huey reinterpreted A Change Is Gonna Come with the force of a storm. His live performance was gospel, funk, rock, and pain, all wrapped in a massive voice and a wounded prayer. Huey died before his debut album was finished, but this version, it's a cry for justice backed by crashing cymbals and cosmic horns, and that final scream. That's the sound of 1971 cracking open. 1971 didn't whisper. It thundered. With beauty, rebellion, sorrow, and dreams. These songs weren't just hits. They were time machines, carrying truth across generations. From Bowie's Alien Lament to Lennon's Imagined World and Huey's Soul Eruption, these tracks didn't just survive the decade, they defined it. So which one hit your soul's frequency? Drop it in the comments. Let's remember, together. And if you're still chasing forgotten fire, hit like, tap subscribe, and click that end screen to journey into 15 forgotten one-hit rock wonders from 1973. Because every decade leaves behind treasure. You just have to know where to listen.